Likus, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. She is a natural medicine doctor, global wellness visionary, and of course, the author of the book Muse for Women Over 50, and of course, a founder, Wise Woman of Wellness, no other than Dr. Shirley Piccarreto.
Hi, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Welcome, Miss Shirley, on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Yeah, there's a lot there. I've been doing this kind of work with natural healing for well over 30 years. So, started back, working with people, one on one, and got interested in, herbalism, went back to school. I had pretty severe anxiety and didn't have any answers for that. And so I saw a naturopathic doctor, and he got me balanced with my adrenal glands and my B vitamins and meditation within about 40 days. And that was pretty inspiring. So that set me back to going back to school and getting, my degrees. And, now I do a lot of traveling and I've, learned a lot from other cultures as well, too.
Interesting, Dr. Shirley, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Thank you. And today, let's talk about how do bioidentical hormones differ from conventional ones. So, tell us. Let's start with the fundamental question. Many listeners are asking, in a simple terms, what is a key biochemical difference between a bioidentical hormones and synthetic?
Yeah, it's basically that we're with bioidentical hormones, we're mimicking the body's natural hormones, whether that's progesterone or testosterone, and these are formulated, in labs. They're definitely, moderated, regulated, and all of that, kind of thing. And so over the years, when hormones first came on the scene, the synthetics, they were really seen as a fountain of youth. They were really advocated, but then as time went by and some of the testing continued, they really found so many challenges and issues with cancers and things like that. So I was introduced to bioidentical hormones. I'm going to say about 15 years ago, so a long time ago, and it just made so much sense because as we age, and our hormones are meant to keep us young, but as we age over 40, 50, and and above, those hormones go right down, and along with that goes our health.
Interesting indeed, Dr. Shirley. The term bioidentical is often used in marketing. From a medical perspective, what this term actually mean and how is the molecular structure verified?
As I said, you're definitely mimicking, what is already going on, in the body. Suzanne Summers was someone who, really brought bioidentical hormones, to the forefront, and wrote a number of books that really, researched that. I recommend those books for people if they're looking to have an overview. And idyllically, what we're wanting is something that resonates with the body, not something that's going to stress on the body or change the gene structure. We have control of about 80% of our health through epigenetics, which is a study about how the body does heal itself. And so 20% might be gene expression, but 80% of that is going to be what we can control on a regular basis through our food, through our relationships, through our hormones, through cleansing, all of the things.
You often hear that bioidentical hormones are derived from plant sources like wild yam or soy. Can you walk us through how a plant steroid is transformed into a hormone that biochemically identical to what a human body produces?
Yeah, and I gotta say, I mean, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not a doctor of bioidentical hormones. It's just something that I recommend for people. I work with a lab directly, but yes, wild yam, in particularly, has been shown to create help the body to create progesterone within the body, and our progesterone starts to drop really in our later 40s, and our testosterone starts to drop, all of those things. So as we can start to replace those naturally, our body will then respond in a way that helps us to have more energy, sleep better at night, and have less pain. There's a lot of pain that goes on, especially in the structural system, when our estrogen becomes too low. And that starts to happen in the later 50s, primarily for people.
So, doctor, what is the concept of identical to what the body makes so important for how the hormone functions and how it metabolizes?
Yes, exactly. And again, I work with a lab, that does all the formulating. They're out of Florida, and what they do is they do, the deep dive blood tests, all of the, not just the hormones, but all the liver and the enzymes and everything. And so then they put that together with a pretty intricate, very, very long medical history. And then from there, their doctors put a program together based on a person's needs, based on what they're having issue with. Maybe they're having issue with, weight gain, or feeling depressed, or losing hair, or having, thin skin, lack of sexual attraction. And all of that goes on when our hormones start to get lower. And so we find when we fill up that well again, that we start to feel amazing, and really in a very short period of time. So many people will feel better within a week. I mean, it really is amazing. And the delivery method is transdermal through the skin. So very easy for people to use. They just put these on the inside of the forearm, is the best place. These creams, and again, are regulated as to how much you should have for your particular body. And then people normally get tested at least once a year to see if anything has changed.
Once a year. Is it effective, Dr. Shirley? Is it
Oh, I
worth
think
it?
so. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I started, like I said, I don't, I'm trying to do the math there, probably like 16, 17, years ago. And I remember being in the tub, taking a shower, and I looked down, my hair was darker at the time, but there's all this dark hair kind of swirling around my drain. And it was in my later 40s. I'm like, what's going on? And that's always caused me to research, when I have my own issues, whether that's, with my joints or the anxiety that, causes me to do a deep dive. And so I started looking into the hormones then. So I started with progesterone. And then as recently as 2 years ago, I ended up having, some pretty severe joint issues that came from a lack of estrogen. And so I work with that now. And I also work with testosterone. And a lot of people think testosterone is, just for men, and it's not. For women, many people believe that lack of testosterone is one of the causative factors of heart disease for women, primarily because the receptors for the testosterone are on the heart. And so that's kind of interesting to look at. So I take and use the identical hormones. Just to feel great, to feel young, to feel energetic. We just got back from Italy, walked 75 miles, in a couple of weeks. I'm able to do, high level, yoga, have all kinds of strength, be of a good mood. I'm never down. So yeah, I think that I feel like I feel fantastic, and my clients and members that also partake feel the same way.
Truly, truly, it's worth it, people. So, and mechanism and efficacy. How bioidentical hormones, particularly, well, estradiol and progesterone, work differently in the body compared to their synthetic counterparts to elevate classic
Well, I think that
premenopause?
yeah, I think that the delivery method is important. I think the monitoring, is absolutely important. I've never taken, quote, regular hormones. I do not have any experience with that, but I know it's not something I would ever do. If you look, deep into those studies, a lot of them, as I said, caused, different cancers. They even abandoned the study. I think it was back a long time ago, 2008, something, like that. So there is not as much of a push, for the chemical hormones any longer, and it's become a lot easier. It used to be hard, to find someone that would do the testing and then delivery. They're still not covered by insurance, so there's an out of pocket there, but I find it to be, absolutely worth it. I would not be without them. I just it's an absolute part, whether it's my vitamins, my minerals, my morning drinks. I use stem cells, I use magnetics. I have a lot of things that keep my health at 100%. But the bioidentical hormones are a big part of that.
Dr. Shirley, let's talk about progesterone, which is
Mhm.
often point of confusion. How does bioidentical differ from the synthetic progestins? Did I pronounce correctly? So sorry. Found in many conventional regimens.
Well, what I can tell you about the progesterone is progesterone is made within the body for us, particularly when a sperm and an egg connect for conception. And so progesterone is a herb that helps to keep that fertilized egg tight to the uterine wall so we can make a baby and keep a baby there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's its primary role within the body. So as we get into our 40s and of course 50s, 60s and beyond, we don't need that particular service, of the body. So our progesterone starts to go down. And when the progesterone starts to go down, we, as I mentioned, lose, the hair. We also start to have, like, if women have a shapely figure, like an hourglass figure, they will notice their waist will get a lot thicker, be more like a soda can, figure. They would notice also too that their skin might be blotchy, their mood may be lower, they might cry, be moody and sad a little bit more. And again, with the belly fat and the weight gain. So those are the kind of things that go on. And when we replace these hormones and do that naturally, then all of that changes. Sexuality is a big thing. As women get older, their libido really, drops. They just, even if they're with people that they love and, care about and want to be with, their body just is not going to respond well sexually. So a lot of women and husbands are very, partners are very happy, when the woman, has that part of her life back again. It really makes a big difference, all the way around. So I believe that the bioidentical hormones are just life changing.
Life changing indeed. Sleep is a huge issue for women in midlife. How do bioidentical hormones, particularly progesterone, help regulate sleep cycles in a way that synthetic hormones may not?
I'm not sure of your exact question. Are you talking about a menstrual cycle?
Or sleep cycle.
Sleep cycle. Okay, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Progesterone has a lot to do with sleep, as does, testosterone as well too. And I teach classes every week in my Wise Woman of Wellness site there, in my group. And I actually just finished teaching two classes in the last couple weeks, and those are free on my Facebook page that people can find. But anyway, people do not sleep well. People are not sleeping solid. A lot of the issue comes when they wake up in the middle of the night, and that has to do with our liver sometimes is stressed between the hours of 2 and 4. And when our hormones are out of whack, our whole eliminative detoxification system does not work that well. Progesterone also helps to relax the nervous system too, which makes a big difference for people if they wake up in the middle of the night and, they're worried and all of that. And we also, of course, have blue light when people are grabbing their phones in the middle of the night. So having a body that's balanced is probably the best way I can say it. So when we are completely balanced in our testosterone, our DHEA, and our adrenal glands, when our body is balanced, we're going to sleep well. We're going to sleep just that much better. So it has a huge effect. I feel bad for all the people that don't, sleep well or sleep through the night. It can be very alarming, and it also, the body starts to break down, especially the immune system. We're more prone to getting ill when our sleep cycle is not as strong as it can be.
Dr. Shirley, for many women, declining libido, is it distressing and silent struggle? How can help restore sexual desire and function, and what hormones are most critical for this transformation?
There's two. One is a progesterone, which you talked about, and again, that can work really, really quickly. I mean, just almost immediately. It's pretty amazing. It helps women not only with their desire, but also, for their ability to, have and enjoy, orgasm without a without a struggle rather. And then the other is testosterone, and testosterone has always been like, considered to be a male hormone, but it's really not. Women, there was just an article actually I think it was in the Wall Street Journal, maybe just last week, where they're talking about, the so many benefits with that. And testosterone also helps, with muscle, strength. It makes a big difference, as I said, in prevention for heart. But the testosterone and the progesterone together are the two that women can take, easily and effortlessly to restore their desire and libido.
Interesting, Dr. Shirley. And before we continue our discussion today, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
I've been doing this kind of work for a long time, well over 30 years. I'm a world traveler, so my partner Mark and I, we're out of the country about 6 to 8 weeks out of the year. So I want to be able to continue to do that. So to have that go on, we really, need to, keep up our health so we can do these adventures, and, all through Asia and Vietnam and, India, Nepal, and all of these wonderful, countries. So I want to remain healthy, for that. And I want to be able to continue to share my story. I teach online, a couple times a week. I have a big group of, followers, and so I want to be able to continue to inspire people, and also, the traveling. So those are my two biggest things.
Good luck to your goals, Dr. Shirley, and looking forward for more success. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
Well, I think the one thing to know is that at any given point, our body is either regenerating or degenerating, and we get to determine that. So we can determine, we can change our energy, we can change our sleep, we can reduce our pain, we can, lose the dangerous fat, in our body. And so many people, especially as they get older, think like, well, I'm 50 or I'm 60, or that's just the way it is, and it's not. So I want people to know that you can change anything. And a couple of years ago, I'd have two hip surgeries. I broke two bones, and I couldn't even walk to the grocery store, let alone do yoga or hike. So I came back, from that, and I'm stronger and better than ever before. And I want people to know that they can do the same thing with the right guidance and with the right information, and you know right, and to do that naturally, without without medication. So I'm very, very confident, that people can have a better life ahead than they may have had before.
Thank you for that advice, Miss or Dr. Shirley. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Yeah, I think it would be for women, especially on this particular topic, are the Suzanne Summers book. There's one that's called The Sexy Years, and that was when she was in her 60s. And she's interviewed world-renowned doctors that are anti-aging experts in there. And it's a great book to kind of have a primer or a starter if you're wanting to learn, about this. And she has other books that came out afterwards. So sad that she has passed, but her books live on. So I would say Suzanne Summers' The Sexy Years would be a great place to start to learn more about this subject.
Thank you for that recommended book, Dr. Shirley. And for a woman interested exploring this kind of uh, innovation, what are the first steps she should take?
Well, I mean, I'm certainly happy to play any role. As you can see, you're showing this, here. I was actually just in Italy a couple of weeks ago, so that was there. And so I'm doing a whole, Art of Aging Beautifully, Wise Woman's Way, and that is all about hormone imbalance. So I don't know when this comes out, but that's we're actually starting that this month of November, and so I think the reading is good. People can follow me on Wise Woman of Wellness on Facebook. It's simple to find me, and then from there, I also have a Wise Woman's membership, and that's just $11 a month, and that's all of the teachings on all of the subjects on a regular basis. And there's a lot of really good people out there, that are doing good natural work, but it can be confusing for people. You get online and start looking around at 2 in the morning, and you're scared and you're worried and you don't know what to do. I understand that, and that's why people like myself can put the whole thing together, give you a program to follow, so you don't have any questions and you get the results you want, most importantly.
Most importantly, for sure. And what are the most common misconceptions or myth about BHRT that you feel constantly need to correct?
That's a good question. A lot of people, are worried about like taking testosterone and like growing big, biceps or getting thick legs, and that's not the case. If anything, your body, your muscles get stronger, your legs get, thinner, your waist gets smaller. So I think that's a big, misconception. And I think people, are quote afraid of estrogen because people, if there's too much estrogen in the body, that can be cause a cancer situation and estrogen dominance. But the problem usually is not too much estrogen, it's usually not enough progesterone, and so those things have to be balanced. So those are probably the two biggest questions that I get, but I send people off to be professionally tested, and so they know exactly what they need, how much, and then that's it's a great company, and they end up they send your hormones in the mail. They come FedEx in 2 days, and then you're off to the races, starting something new.
It's something new. That's amazing, amazing. Dr. Shirley, and to wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season. I'm a book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season. I'm a food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast Law 101 and Mental Health 101 love letters in fourth season, as well as my movie 101 review and music 101 and science 101 and sex 101 in its second
Wow.
season. Please listen to them
You
wherever
got
you
a lot
listen.
going on.
Yes, please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Dr. Shirley, if you could leave our audience with one key takeaway about the potential of bioidentical hormones, what would it be?
I think if we could picture living like we did maybe 10 years ago or 15 years ago, if we could understand that our energy would be better and our mood would be better and our sleep would be better and the sex would be better, that I think that the transformation is, I think bioidentical hormones provide the largest transformation in the shortest amount of time, to really change our health.
Indeed, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Dr. Shelley, can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your innovation, or any projects that you are doing right now?
Yes, right now, I've just launched the Wise Women's membership, and that's where people can work with me and other wise women for just $11 a month. And we have classes, and we dive deep, and we have community, and just everything that anyone would want to know. So that is just launching right now.
Yes, people, let's support Dr. Shirley Piccarreto. Because if you support her, for sure, more and more empowering breakthrough to come. So, Dr. Shirley, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Maricon people, see you soon.